Welcome to the Business Spotlight Podcast. My name is David Beeson. I am your host for today's conversation, and my guest today is Austin Clemens, the founder and CEO of Loyal Home Concierge. We are going to be talking about his business journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to build and operate a business. Austin, welcome to the show today, and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little bit of background of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be here, David. Thanks for having me. Quick background on me. I grew up in Santa Barbara, California. I am a California guy through and through. I love the ocean. Surfing is my favorite hobby. But then I moved to the East Coast where I was for about 20 years. College brought me east. And then I felt the pull to Texas. Felt kind of an unexplainable draw to my namesake city of Austin. And that's where Loyal was born. And the backstory of Loyal is a long time coming, but I started Loyal Home Concierge in Austin, which has been a great market for our home management and home maintenance business.
Awesome, awesome. What college you go to?
I went to Bucknell University in central Pennsylvania, pretty sleepy town, but awesome school.
Yeah, yeah. I was curious. I have a bunch of buddies that live in the East Coast, so I was curious if maybe they were similar college or anything like that. But yeah, so generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you sole founder and owner, outside investors?
Yeah, single member LLC, no outside investors, and really taking a thoughtful approach to growth and taking a forever hold mentality to the business.
Yeah, it's awesome. So tell me a little bit about what role you currently play in the business. Like, what's a day in the life of Austin?
Yeah, so my main function as we grow and right now we're trying to hire for a new role is acting as a coach to my employees and really helping them have an ownership mindset in the role and kind of the remit that they're responsible for. So coaching, training, that adds to a lot of what sets us apart in the market, which maybe we'll get into later. But really, the job consists of some technical skills and a lot of soft skills. So coaching is a big thing since we're still a young company and growing, system building and system refining. I would say actually more so system refining. So making sure our operational systems really serve the business and serve the customers well. So I'm tweaking those things. And
Gotcha,
then
gotcha.
I'll add, the probably the most important one, sales. So I'm the primary salesperson in the business, and what sales looks like for us is building relationships in the community, getting to know homeowners, getting to know people in our space. So, yeah, business development and relationship building.
Awesome. So when you look at your role, how many hours do you spend working in your business? So like the job itself, and how many on the business? So strategy, planning, things like that.
In the business versus on, you know, there's a lot of variance week to week. I would say maybe about 70% in the business, 30% on the business. And I'm constantly thinking of how can I get out of the business more. That's always on my mind. And, have the business, my hope is for the business to completely run without me. We're not there yet, but yeah, so I'm definitely working in the business more so than on. And I always appreciate the times of slowdown where I can step back and really work on the business and strategize because what really energizes me.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. So this is always kind of a fun question I like to ask. If I were to give you an extra 10 hours back each week, how would you invest those hours? Would it be in the business, personal life, family time?
Oh man. You know, it would be personal life. It would be investing in relationships, and really, reaching out to family members or close friends, getting time with close friends locally, planning some thoughtful dates with my girlfriend. Yeah, it would be investing back in my most important relationships.
Awesome. So I'm always curious why entrepreneurs chose that step. So why'd you choose to go into business for yourself, and what was that transition like for you?
You know, I had the entrepreneurial itch or wiring from a really young age. So I was the kid who was having lemonade stands. I was selling fruit on the corner. I recruited my neighbor kids to help me run these little businesses. I was painting houses, washing cars. I built a BMX track in my backyard with some buddies and charged the neighbors to
That's
ride
cool.
it. So I was always hustling. And then for whatever reason, that entrepreneurial wiring in me kind of went dormant, I think, through high school and college and post college. And then in my early 20s, I was just very curious about entrepreneurs. And I think that was my reentry into entrepreneurship very slowly. And so I would have coffees with founders all the time and learn their story and learn how they arrived at their product or their service and what pain point were they solving in the market. Um, and so I was kind of getting back to entrepreneurship. And then finally, it was really recognizing the need that we're fulfilling at Loyal to provide a better customer experience to homeowners and really elevate that. So it was the need that drew me into entrepreneurship. And then business ownership was just the path of that. And man, to be honest, it's so challenging.
Yeah.
I'm coming from, my job before founding Loyal was software sales. And I tell people now, like, while I was generating revenue for that business that I was employed, as a W 2, the buck didn't start and stop with me. And if there was a fire to put out in the business, I wanted to help with that as an employee, but ultimately that fell on our CEO. And so now, as a business owner with a small company, the buck starts and stops with me. And I'm the one that will, stay up late into the wee hours if there's a fire to put out or something to address in the business. It's a much, much different seat that I'm sitting in now.
Yeah. Well, as you look back on your journey so far, what has been the most memorable hurdle or roadblock that you were challenged with that you had to overcome as a business owner?
Yeah, this is a hurdle of sorts, but was an interesting season in the business. So when I started the company, I had, one other employee, and he and I were doing all the work. And the offering, which we still do today, the type of project which we were really busy with upon founding was make readies. So that's when someone is selling their home and they need to fix things that are broken and make upgrades and improvements, clean the home and get it ready to be listed on the market. So the real estate market in Austin was a little hotter in the summer of 23 when I started the business. And we were just going gangbusters with make readies. Like literally from day one, we were working with realtors and working with nice homes in the Austin area. And myself and employee number one were doing all this work. And so we would be waking up at 5 in the morning, getting to job sites at 6. We'd be balancing a couple projects at a time, and we would be wrapping up around 8 or 9 and doing this every day. And I guess the what I was experiencing and the reason it was such a hurdle was like we were verging on burnout and trying to figure
Yeah.
out how can we fulfill this demand or address these opportunities to make money but also maintain balance. And something I was doing as business owner at the time is I was doing all the admin way after hours, and so I would get home exhausted from the job site at 9, and then I'd be answering emails, I'd be building the foundational components of the business, setting up our infrastructure. And so it was it was very unsustainable, but it was a good pressure test of figuring out balance, and how to maintain that over time.
Yeah, I mean, that's like 16-hour days. That's a lot. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, I work in a film and TV a lot. That's kind of my background. So I take a lot of movie gigs out here in Austin a lot of the time. And
Mm,
yeah, sometimes those days happen on movie sets because an average movie set day is 12 hours. So a lot of times you hit those 15, 16. If you're working a long movie that's 2 months long, kind of can hit that burnout level. So I know exactly what you're talking about, where it's
mm.
like working 16-hour days can be. can take a toll not only on your body, but on like your brain as well. Like it can mentally drain you after a while.
Oh yeah.
Um, so kind of like moving into the business itself, who primarily does your business serve? Like if I were in the audience, how would I know I was a good fit for your product?
So it's really a homeowner that cares for the quality and the experience of the professionals that they engage and wants that to be a positive one, and is thinking about and prioritizing peace of mind and quality of life in their home, and is discerning about finding professionals that meet that level of quality, and also just wanting to outsource. So someone who's a DIY person who wants to be the one determining, I've got a particular home need, I'm going to go find the vendor, I'm going to manage them. If someone is wanting to be hands-on, that may be less of a fit for us. It's really the homeowner who wants to completely outsource responsibility. They want trust and reliability, and they want people that think and act like the owners of their home.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, what makes your business unique? Like how do you stand out against the competition?
So we're the only home manager in Austin that also has in-house maintenance expertise. That's really important for our business because as we support homeowners in their home life, we do support them with a lot of administrative type services. But a lot of our work is related to projects pertaining to the home. And so having intimate knowledge of homes, their systems, their appliances, how they're built is really important for us. Also, we're fairly unique in being a 24/7 availability business. We want to really be boots on the ground if our client has an unforeseen, water pouring through their ceiling in the middle of the night. We don't want them to be caught in a situation of trying to find a vendor that will pick up the phone. We want to be there and provide that reliability. And then the third thing I'll mention is just all the soft skills training that we go through as a company because we care so much about the customer experience we're providing. And so we're learning from the Ritz-Carlton's management philosophy, and they really set the standard for customer service in the hotel industry. And their training is referenced throughout the entire industry. I love this book, Unreasonable Hospitality. And so we think, while this is a little bit counterintuitive, we think, how can we provide hospitality, a spirit of hospitality when we're in someone else's home? How can we be a peaceful presence? So just our level of emphasis on the customer experience that we're providing is unique.
Awesome, awesome. Well, kind of transitioning a little bit to marketing. I'm always curious what successful businesses are doing marketing wise. What percentage of your monthly sales is typically invested back into your marketing budget?
Yeah, and that's been a challenging area for me to be totally transparent, David. I'm coming from a world of business to business software sales,
Hmm.
which marketing really built our brand awareness. And then I would go direct to my buyer. I knew who they were, I knew how to find them. Now, and particularly with the level of clientele to sell to, it's a wealthier demographic. They're much less likely to respond to a cold outreach or
Mm.
click on an ad. Um, there's much more emphasis on referrals and us getting to a new client through a trusted intermediary. And so the vast majority of our new business comes from referrals of existing homeowner clients, and then secondarily from trusted intermediaries like their realtor. And so, my marketing efforts look like working to elevate my brand. So we're doing some brand building right now, producing some video content, really seeking to expand the availability of our message and our values and what we're about. And then big emphasis for me on relationship building in the community.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was curious if y'all were doing any video or digital marketing because I do think that there's kind of a wave right now with it where it can really bring in a lot of business.
Mm.
Um, so what is like y'all's number one strategy that kind of brings in business, your number one marketing strategy right now?
Well, twofold, and building relationships with intermediaries. And so I'm seeking people out around town through events or through direct
Yeah.
outreach. I'm going and connecting to realtors at a coffee meetup. And then the money we're investing in marketing assets right now, I'm producing a podcast that lets me connect with different members of the community. Um, we're slicing and dicing video assets from that podcast and also some just direct recorded content from me and packaging it up on our social. Um, our Instagram is a great way to connect with other intermediaries and connect with interior designers and home builders and luxury realtors, and for them to get a feel for our ethos and our values. And then writing our blog content, and we've actually seen a good uptick recently on just discoverability online. Um, so continuing to invest in those assets is helping moving the needle there.
Yeah. So, kind of switching over to kind of like team building, how would you describe your leadership style in business and has it changed over the years?
I would say kind of two ways to describe it. One, servant leadership. I really want to seek to humbly try to serve my employees and add value in their lives. And I don't want to be, some highfalutin, holier than thou leader. I really want to serve them and make their life better. And my hope is that through working at my company, their life is better and they see benefits in surprising and unsuspected ways. And then the other one is I want to get out of the way and empower them. And so we talk a lot about one of our values is think and act like an owner. And so I'm constantly reminding employees and really giving permission, reminding them of the permission to, hey, you're free to make a decision here and choose what you think is best. Um, you're free to invest, company dollars into providing a fix or solution or, a gift to a client. So always reminding and empowering them to make their own decisions because, as we were talking a little bit about earlier, I want this business to ultimately, one day run completely without me. And the path to doing that is really empowering employees.
Yeah. Yeah, no, makes sense. I'm curious, how big is the team?
There's three of us full time right now. And then we've got a bench of part time folks. And then a lot of our work involves vendors. And so we're heavily vendor partner reliant. So we have a list of vendors that we work with.
Awesome, awesome. Are you planning to hire any more people over the coming or I guess over 2026?
Yes, I'm actually interviewing for a home manager position right now. So I was on an interview this morning before jumping on to the call with you. Um, and so I'm planning to have a new person on the team, but probably mid Q1.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I think we'll kind of transition and do some rapid fire if you're ready for that.
Let's do it.
What's the key to success for you?
Mentorship.
Awesome. What is your one piece of advice for other business owners?
Be open to feedback and take the long view.
You mind elaborating on that? Because I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Both pieces.
Yeah, both of them, yeah.
You know, and being a founder and being a business owner, constantly you're seeing that you don't always have the best answer, that you're not always right, and it's an incredibly humbling position to be in. I think starting and running a business is one of the hardest things you can do. Um, and your mistakes are right in front of you, and sometimes they're costly and they're painful. Um, and so really being the more easily you're open to feedback, and you need to be discerning about where that comes from and who that comes from, because everyone wants to give you advice and everyone thinks they've got the magic piece of wisdom for your company. You need to have a discerning filter, but be really open to receiving it. And so and that connects to what I was saying earlier about mentorship is find valuable sources of counsel that are trusted and really lean into what they say. And don't, drop your ego, drop your pride, and just try things out, try out advice and perspectives that come from mentors. And then the second piece of taking the long view, I think, and particularly with this has been a learning curve for me, candidly, but I'm coming from the software world where the path to success comes from raising a boatload of venture capital and having a war chest of millions and millions of dollars to fuel growth. And the type of growth you're looking for is a hockey stick curve. Now, my business is self-funded. We're a services business. So we don't have this highly scalable, repeatable product that we're selling. It's very grassroots, it's in the community. We're just in the city of Austin right now. And so I need to take a really thoughtful and long view path to growth and make decisions that set us up for success in the long term. And sometimes it comes at the cost of maybe a bump in short term revenue. Um,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, always just having that mentality in the back of my mind of building things for the long haul, choosing quality. And so that also has me a lot of times investing in a more expensive infrastructure or tool or, the vans we use because I'm making a long-term investment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I think that was a great answer. What is a book or podcast you're reading or listening to right now?
I'm actually just started reading this book, The Four Agreements. It's some fundamental relational principles and really what it means to honor your word, and make commitments to people and have just a powerful spirit of integrity. So it's been a good just refresher on some foundational principles.
Yeah, that's awesome. I see the big library behind you. You seem like a big reader.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of a fun question that I always love to ask. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could choose to one spot in your business to sprinkle it, where would it be and why?
It would be our sales top of funnel, and we would have just this magical way of being discovered by clients that are our ideal customer profile. And that's often dictated in Austin by their home value. So homes over a certain value that all of them could just know who we are, know what we're about, and be able to find us.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we get to the final question of the day, would you like to share with our audience how they can learn more about you guys and contact y'all? Maybe follow y'all on some social medias?
Yeah, best channel would be either through our website or probably through our Instagram. Website is loyalhomeconcierge.com, and Instagram and social handle is at Loyal Home Concierge. Both are great ways to get in touch with us.
Awesome. Well, we've come to the final question of the day, and that is what is most inspiring to you today?
This has been really kind of the story of my adult life, but it's the experiences of other entrepreneurs, and talking to an entrepreneur that I can feel a lot of camaraderie with. And so, actually, most recently, that's been my girlfriend, and she's an entrepreneur. She works in a similar space to you, David, of film production.
Mm,
But seeing the thoughtful way that she serves her clients, her attention to detail, her own ownership mindset has really been a great source of inspiration for me. And it's been fun to have someone that I can talk strategy with and someone that I feel like I'm in the trenches with of business building. So I've really been inspired. And she's been an entrepreneur a lot longer than me. So her story has been really inspirational to me.
yeah, it's awesome. Well, this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed getting to hear your story. So thank you so much for sharing. Also, I just want to encourage all of you watching to save this show and come back and watch it again because Austin really did have some great insights for business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that way you get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thanks to you, Austin, for being with us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, David. Thanks so much.
Of course. And I will see you all in the next episode.